Thanks for tuning into the Carrie Handle Podcast. Here's your host, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome to the Carrie Handle Podcast. My name is Bryce, and with me, as always, is Kevin. If you're new to the show, this is actually the first video edition of this show. Hello, Kevin. Say hello.
I am Kevin.
This is, in fact, Kevin. And
I'm
you were
real.
here for the first edition of the video hour. The video
hour.
whatever the description says. That's what I decided to call this. So
right there.
We're here to talk about some stuff, and I'm going to do some show and tell stuff because I like to talk Italian, and sometimes it's hard for me to do that over.
You like to talk. Sometimes he is
audio.
Italian.
I'm never Italian. I'm very not.
I know you're.
So Kevin and I, before we went live, we're talking. Just touched on the concept of what we were looking for out of a truck gun, and I figured we'd hit record and talk about it.
Yeah, the concept of compactness and quality and reliability, and kind of.
So when you're thinking about a truck gun, what are you looking for? If you were to say you wanted a vehicle or you wanted a firearm that you could use or that was dedicated for, say, road trips or long trips where you want to be prepared.
Something small, compact that I was able to grab relatively easily and use.
See, I think part of the consideration a lot of people lose, or it seems that way when I see people talking about their really cool hyper tactical setups, is grabbing it and using it, not
never
pressing
ever
the trigger.
Well, nobody ever wants to talk about the logistics of grabbing
but like how are you? Yeah, what is it in? How are you keeping it in there?
Yeah.
Is it the only thing in the bag? Is it a useful bag, or is it just hiding in plain sight? What are we getting out of it?
It's almost like the same idea as people that have all these like Gucci'd up offensive handguns. They have like, it's like, wait, how do you holster and conceal that and pull it out, and how do you do that? They go, what?
Well, I know WMLs are a big thing, especially in terms of holsters, but it's anybody that tells me carrying a X300 and carrying without feel the same as I say that because people have made that argument to me, and it's great to have people tell me what I need. But on that same vein, what do you actually need from something like that? What you need to do is be able to grab it out of a bag,
grab it easily, have it compact enough, and have it reliable enough to, put down bipedals.
Right. I like that a lot. So that's the biggest part. Is I started that journey maybe a year or two ago when I got my AK-104 for the PSA AK-104.
Right.
Initially, I did want a 104, a 100 series AK. Those are, the 104 is my favorite AK.
That was the whole idea that you were talking about when you bought that gun. You're like, oh, it's a truck gun.
It was a truck gun, right? That was the concept, because at the time we were traveling, and my wife and I, we didn't have our son at the time, so we were doing more road trips, and it was something that I wanted. I experimented with the AK, and you think because it's a folding stock and it's the folding trunnion, so it's a true folding trunnion AK.
Right.
You think when you hear that, it makes it more compact, and it does relative to a carbine. But when it is not, that does not make a bag gun just because it folds the stock. I did my best. I put 20 rounders on it. I tried to keep it felt, as compact as possible.
Well, the obvious problem was the weight. The thing is heavy.
It's hard to put in a bag, and the bag has to be pretty big too.
Remember the time I took it and took off running? It was a lot more chunkier than I thought it was going to be.
Well, it weighs as much as my LPVO equipped light piggyback red dot light carbine. But that only has an EOTech and a flashlight. Granted, yes, the EOTech does weigh a lot.
Well, the EOTech
relative to what it is. But even naked, the gun is a bit of a chunk, and it's long. It is a long gun relative to what it is. But what I was telling Kevin earlier is, I found the worst offender to this gun. I actually have it right here, and it's a video, so I can share.
Can we show? Can you show?
So I can show.
Ooh, are you going to tell?
So my biggest issue turned into uh that little fucking thing right there. And that is a late
That's not
charging handle.
that's not JB welded on there, is it?
It is absolutely JB welded on there.
Because it
It
kept
kept
flying
flying
off.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
remember that.
So you see this stock folding, making the gun relatively compact.
Wow, it's so
torso
streamlined on that
size,
side. Wow,
right?
I like
Right.
it.
I'm gonna bump some of my lighting up here. But
Un momentito while we buff up the lighting. Do 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 do. We'll be right back. Do 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 do. And we're
yeah,
back.
baby. There it is.
Wow.
Oh, hit the fucking mic. Okay, so it's about torso sized, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
that seems fine. But again, that wasn't even necessarily the size isn't necessarily the biggest issue. It's how it uses that width and
Mm.
what it is. So if you could tell, I tried to keep everything on this side because the
Right.
stock folds this way.
Right.
So I was trying to keep everything, svelte. Well, to run an optic the way I have, so I don't have all the weight on the front like every other AK I've ever tried to run, because
Mhm.
I mean, everybody runs the red dots here, but I didn't want to do that, so I put it back here, and that made it so that I needed to extend the charging handle lest I be laying my finger open every time I went to reload the gun with the Neotech on there.
Yeah.
So even then, you still have that sharp charging handle that grabs and tears insides of bags. But
Oh, they're absolutely sharp.
yeah, they're pretty bad.
They're
So
like the lowest like quality controlled part on the gun, I think. They're just fucking sharp as hell.
yeah, it's absolutely sharp. So this in theory is super cool. Never mind this stupid booster. The regular gun, the muzzle device comes down to like here.
Th-
So it's
does
not, it's a
Does it
12 and a
boost
half
it?
inch gun. Yeah, it's a faux break. It's a really ugly faux break, but
Oh,
either
fancy.
way, so when I SBR it, it'll go away when I finally get around to doing that. But so I liked the concept. However, the gun was heavy. It was clunky. Every time I put it in a bag, I could hear the charging handle catch. So I'd hear
Yeah.
every time I put it into the bag, I could hear it going out of battery. And then if I jiggle the bag around, I hear it go clunk. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, jeez. Can
So-
you imagine like you grab that thing that's slightly out of battery?
Well, I mean, I don't keep them loaded in a bag. So
Oh. You don't
I
live on the edge.
no, I do not.
Well, that's
So that kind of fell by the wayside when we started exploring and talking a lot more about like the offensive program or the offensive handgun concept that Brass Facts and Chuck Pressburg were talking about.
good. Mhm.
And that was the end of last year at some point. But we were talking about that, and I liked that concept because it was something that you had with you all the time. And so I was exploring bigger guns. I went back to carrying whatever it is that I was carrying at the time, but
Right.
I couldn't get rid of the idea that I wanted something that I could take on the road. I could take for a trip, lest my family decide we go on more road trips because my son's becoming more mobile.
Mhm.
So I wanted that, and then I also wanted an excuse to buy another carry handle gun because
Wow.
people keep giving me shit about not posting carry handle
You-
rifles.
Well, you only have one.
Shut up.
And you've only
Hey, I posted a video about this backstory for that. Okay,
I
It's-
saw it.
it's right,
Yeah,
it's right
I see
there.
it. I see it.
little scoundrel.
I can
So,
smell the gas.
I've been
from
back.
there.
I think I've been talking about since about December. Seriously, getting a 635
Mhm.
and
You
trying
have.
to use that as more of a truck or a vehicle or a road trip or rifle weapon, whatever.
Yeah.
So I liked that I liked the 9mm I also like just 9mm SMGs in general. I like Colts. Obviously, I like ARs. I like carry handles.
Yeah.
They all
Yeah,
fit the
nine-
bill.
Well, yeah, nines. You can find it everywhere. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
universal.
it's pretty prevalent. I mean, the recoil with 9mm straight blowback guns is kind of, it's whatever. I mean, Maxim Defense has that really cool roller locked system, which I'll try that buffer at some point when I finally actually get around to buying one of those lowers. But so it was between the 635, and then I saw some pictures of Israelis running around with carry handle 11.5-inch and 12-inch
Ooh,
rifles, and it
interesting.
reinvigorated me into a carry handle 5.56 gun. But the biggest problem is I don't know if you've shot 5.56 indoors
I
out of a
have
10-inch gun.
seen people at my local range
Very unpleasant.
run short ARs and run short through elites, and they are
So the
not the most pleasant thing to see.
Yeah. So the other caveat to this is I do not intend on suppressing this gun. So, and the gun I'm alluding to in a minute, this particular system, if it ends up on a road trip, it's not going to be suppressed. Not for a matter of legality or anything like that, but it's another thing I have to put on because I'm not going to leave the suppressor on the gun. And then on top of
Right.
that,
Well,
it's
ideally,
bigger.
ideally, you never have to, seriously use it. But if you are seriously, you're not really going to be like, oh, I gotta put this.
Yeah, I mean, the
Here's-
same
here's-
concept could be said for pinning the uppers together, though. So
Yeah.
I mean, you could make an argument either way, which is fine, and I'm sure I will explore both of these options at some point. But I mean,
just having it ready to pull out and just
Yeah.
bang is the best thing.
I
Less
like that a lot.
variables.
That's kind of why I decided, no matter what gun, and so spoiler alert, I ended up choosing a gun. So I was like, oh, I'll get 11.5-inch or a 9mm or 11.5-inch 5.56 or
What'd you
9mm.
choose?
10.3.
Ooh. Oh, hold on. Show us to the camera.
not
Let's
it's
see
not
it
a
from the
carry handle either.
camera.
Okay,
Wow.
so this is not its final evolution, but
What? That's a perfect trick gun.
yes. It's the handguard's coming next week, but the muzzle device, this is that really cool like stoner accidental muzzle device I have that I really like.
Yeah.
So it's super
Yeah.
compact too. I was gonna put a Surefire muzzle brake on this so I could use
Mhm.
my Warden because it is a it is a muzzle blast diverter, or it's a blast can. So it just shoots the blast forward.
Right.
And I mean, I think I have it around here somewhere. So this isn't a Surefire. I mean, it goes over it and it's like there. The problem is this is heavy. I mean, it's a mount. Like these are they're
Right.
heavy.
And
So
you-
they
and you
have a
want that-
direct thread one.
Well, I mean, in the philosophy you're going for, you want that thing to be as light as humanly possible.
So this is the thing that I really wanted to illustrate here is this AK-104 is folded, right? So
It is.
and then this is just collapsed.
Yep.
Yep. These
Are the same.
size. And this is folded in half and not as shoot. Well, actually, these kind of suck to shoot with the stock folded. Like if you try to shoot it like SAS style, like an MP5, it
Right.
fucking. I mean,
Well,
you can.
You
just
can,
sucks.
but they're not designed for it. So it's all
No,
the
it's-
center of
that's-
gravity is all off.
Yeah, I mean, those are just designed to be folded in a tank or an APC. That's, made of cardboard. What? So, so I mean, and then obviously with that compact buffer, it's going to be even shorter. So now with the compact buffer tube, you use length. So this is a standard buffer. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like.
Mhm.
But I think the sacrifices are worth it. And we were discussing, I think, we were discussing about the law folders initially, and the concept. I like the law folder, but again, we still end up with that issue where if I have the gun completely flat, that's why another thing that ARs are great for. They're
Yeah.
really flat.
They are.
They're really convenient. So especially like I stack these things on racks all day, and they're so convenient because they're so flat. But
Mhm.
the law folder not only adds a lot of weight, but when you fold it, it's not, I mean, if you care, unless you get like the $500 bolt from Law Folder or Law Tactical, you can't fire it. I mean, I don't think it's really that big a deal, but some people do. Some people care about that. I don't know
Okay.
why, but
So you can't
either
really
way-
use it with a normal bolt carrier.
yeah, you have to use their proprietary. So you end up $600 in the hole if you convert to their system.
Or just to have it fold and shoot.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
kind of a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I've heard mixed reliability. Well, initial reports weren't great.
Yeah, it
I've
sounds like
considered it, but it's so much money.
they're just riding the back of the hype a little bit.
We'll see. I mean, I'd like to see it have some kind of staying power because it'd be cool to have like an easy way to have a folding AR. I mean, that's super cool. So, I mean, if it works, I'll try it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But for now, I like the concept of not adding weight, but also still having it super short, not
Right.
having to worry about folding it, not having to worry. And then the other concept, oh, well, what are you going to do about light? Well, I put the light on the bottom, like
What
Car
are you gonna do
15
about
style.
light? Oh, okay.
So Car 15 style, it would just be a scout on the bottom, just kind of like here. So like
Okay.
normal, like, any of the Gordy carbines or anything like that. But I mean, it's a good place to put it. And then I'm going to have to do something that I don't like doing, but I'm going to have to run a switch.
No, don't do it. No, don't get to the switches.
Yeah,
No.
I know. So it was, and then the other concept was, or the other thought that I had was, I still kind of want to make it a carry. I still want it to be a carry handle because I was telling Kevin this the other day, but I really, really like the M16A2 sights quite a bit. So, and if I were to have a truck gun or travel gun, I'm very confident using the A2 sights. So I would use a flashlight and A2 sights and feel pretty comfortable. I mean, the low light shooting that I would do with something like this is going to be like handgun distance anyway. So if I can shoot somebody with a handgun, the iron sights and a flashlight on this are going to be
Well, you'll
fine.
have enough of a flash too from the.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I'm going to see him. Pop, pop. Oh, there he is.
Where did my car keys go? Pop, 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 pop. Oh, there they are.
It's like, why do you have a beta drum on you at all times? It's unrelated.
Unrelated.
So I have some aesthetic decisions based on, or for this gun. I'm experimenting with some
Slug?
CAC parts, KAK, not KAC. The company out of California.
Slug?
I've used their parts professionally and I've liked them, so I figured give them a shot and buy some of them. So I
Are you gonna
bought
put a
one of the
slug on it?
rails. You what?
Slug? Are you gonna put a slug?
Yeah, I mean, pistols get slings.
Oh, pistols.
Yeah,
Getting
pistols
all
get slings.
legality with it. I love it. Your legalese.
I don't know how to run.
Does it need
I've
a
never
slug?
really run a gun this small. I've only ever really put any kind of trigger time. Maybe this is another one of those things, trying to figure out how to run a small gun.
Yeah. I mean, does it even need a sling though? Because the whole idea of it is you're just pulling it out of a bag. And...
Yeah, but a
Yeah, I
sling for a
guess-
rifle is like a holster. You need a way to
Yeah.
perform administrative tasks. So you
That's
need to be able
true.
to like throw it.
Right.
Because if you put it down and then have to fuck off, like you might forget it.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
that
a
was
single-
just my thought.
Maybe like a single point then, just so you can store it behind you.
I still like the idea of a double, but just like one here and one here, or one here and one here, just so it keeps it a little tighter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how you solve that.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, so one consideration for me, and I don't know if everybody's probably figured this out, but I'm not like super tactical. So the kit that I'm gonna use is gonna be like it's all low profile because I'm not crawling around pretending to be any more tactical than I really am. I'm just a guy that likes to be very prepared and be a practical rifleman.
He's a
that's pretty much
prepared
it.
citizen.
Yeah, I'm a prepared. I'm not poo-pooing that at all. I'm saying I just don't have the training to do that or pretend. I feel like maybe that's gonna get clipped and that'll look bad. Oh well, I don't know. Intelligent people will probably understand what I'm saying. It's
Maybe.
like I'm not. I'm not good at it. But either way, yeah, I like the concept. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm gonna end up with an 11-inch gun. I'm gonna end up with the 635. I already have parts for the I do have parts for the 630. You did tell, yeah. You were like, don't you have parts? And I was like, no, but I do.
But you do.
I do have parts for that. Yeah. Actually,
So-
I think I have a hammer and I have the magazine clamps.
So quality and reliability of a gun that short.
So I mean, people have talked about ARs, specifically ARs, short, compact ARs ad nauseum, right? I
Uh-huh.
mean, I've alluded to maybe not maybe not on podcasts, but I've talked about like operational windows before in terms of like, or at least with you, when we're talking about when the things that make a gun work and cycle continually. So one
Right.
round, 2 round, 3 round.
Yeah.
So the gas system, especially on ARs, it's kind of a finicky system. I mean, you're kind of dealing with expanding gases.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing to consider, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but the distance between your gas port and your muzzle is when the bullet leaves, you uncork all those gases. So if you have more time here, it allows more, pressure and gases
Right. To
this
build
way
up.
and
Yeah.
work the systems.
Gotcha.
The more that's not a universal truth. Like you can get guns. You could probably they had guns with something called a gas trap, and it was actually at the end of the muzzle. So you can get it to work. That's not I'm not saying they don't work because that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten some crazy shit to work, but it's a matter of getting a bunch of guns to work that way. So the
Right.
United States military and the government with 10.3-inch guns has fucking gas ports about that big. They're intended to be suppressed, so they're already going to be dumping way more gas back into the system.
Right.
So they effectively end up using like suppressors as like boosters to push gas back into the system, which is what they initially did with ARs. If you look back at like the XM 177E2s
Mm-hmm.
and any of the variants, like the 11-inch versions, a 10-inch for whatever versions you're looking at, they had something on the end. It was a moderator. The ATF calls it a suppressor, and people talk about, oh, it changes the tone. It was to build pressure back into the system. So
Right.
it was like the crank. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the crank-off brake. It's that crazy looking conical thing on the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's well, so there's two versions of that. So there's the one that everybody thinks of. That also is to build pressure and to help cycle the gun. So so people want to talk about DI versus piston. This is still a piston gun. The piston's just in here instead of up here. I don't. There's still consideration for gases and shit like that, and the gas port length or gas port location and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
what the fuck was I talking about?
We were talking about the reliability and quality of it.
So it's easy, or it's not easy, but you can get these guns to work with a specific ammo and a specific suppressor. You can absolutely get these guns to work.
So you have to kind of fine tune it to a specific ammo load and just
Exactly.
I
So
gotcha.
you don't have to worry about that as much when you start opening your gas port because it's very gassy. But when you get your gun to work all the time,
Mhm.
it really beats itself up. The 10-3s have a more aggressive maintenance schedule, or they're supposed to have. Obviously, people do whatever they want, me included, do whatever they want in terms of rifle maintenance. Maintenance is a strong word, but
Yeah, top it for new.
yeah, another day. But either way, Kirk already pee slapped me. But
Yeah, you did.
either way, like when you start changing those variables and you start tuning it, it doesn't work as well with a bunch of other things. So
Right.
if you're cool with getting this, like you can get the gun, you can tune the gun to barely spit out a piece of brass with a specific kind of ammo, and you can get them to work. But they're not as plug and play as a 16-inch gun. And I said all that to say, me buying this at the store it's like buying, if you're a 1911 guy, a 5-inch 45 ACP is the most reliable 1911. Well, a 16-inch carbine gas system or a 16-inch mid-length or a 20-inch rifle length, those are the most reliable carbines because they have been most thoroughly vetted. We still
Yes.
use carbine length we actually use both mid-length and carbine because the
Wait,
URGI is
Is this
technically
is this
mid-length.
carbine?
Yeah, it's carbine. So is this. So this is a carbine as well. So
I just
they
have way more dwell time than you do.
yeah, you have a lot more cork action. So those are also a lot spicier in terms of gas. I mean, the recoil, not a lot, but I mean they have a little bit more recoil than like a mid-length. People get really carried away about the recoil, but it's not.
I mean, it's 5.56, like
Yeah, it's not that serious.
negligible.
Yeah. So I'm accepting that this is a project, and I do this a lot. Like this is what I enjoy, is tinkering. So I'm okay with this. I'm also going into this knowing that when I press the trigger on this, it may not work. So I'm accepting that I'm going to need to do some work with this. This is a project. So that's the one thing is like, I'm not talking to the person that wants to buy a firearm to protect their house. Like, don't cobble together an AR for your first build. That's not a good
Right.
idea. You should
This
probably
is
buy something already
you're, ma- you're
pre-assembled.
making a very specific build for a very specific role, and
Yep.
you're going to fine tune it to very specific variables and criteria that you'll be able to control and maintain. Whether
Exactly.
it be
I'm
ammo
not
or
Mhm.
whatever.
Exactly. I'm going to get this to run with the most common 55 grain shit that I have stashed, and then whatever is the easiest, which is probably Monarch. If it locks open with that,
Shout out to
Cool.
Academy.
that's
Woo.
it. I want 55 grain. I'm not looking for anything crazy. I'm not shooting this past 200 yards. It's not what this is for.
Well, it's more or less like an oh shit gun, you know.
I'm going to use this like a submachine gun. That's what this concept is. This is
So,
a submachine gun that
a
plays nice with
PDW?
my other ammo.
A personal defense weapon, if we will, the personal defense
I
weapon
mean,
we have at home.
we can talk about PDWs, but I have a hard
don't-
time
That wouldn't fit the
considering this a PD.
classification. No.
Well, all right. Let's explore that. What is a PDW? We can
what's the one
define
that,
it ourselves.
Didn't they have one? It was like a 5.56 one. It was in Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4.
So, I mean, technically,
You know what I'm
I guess
talking about?
there are rifle caliber PDW. Guess it is, but it's just like 10-inch barrel just seems too long to be a PDW. That's my only problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, PDWR.
What was that?
That was the gun on Battlefield. It was like a 5.56 gun.
Oh, PDWR.
I don't know what it's supposed to be mimicking.
I think it's a Patriot. I think it's a POF gun. I think I remember what it is. Oh no. That's the PDWR. That's that Magpul experimental thing they had. That's from a while ago. Actually, I was just thinking about that. But the Sig Rattler is a PDW, right? But I kind of feel like a PDW is something you can hide in a coat. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can hide that in a coat.
I can't.
You could.
Somebody like normal human sized probably could.
You are normal human sized.
No, I'm closer than you are.
Is that a short joke or a fat joke? I'm not sure.
It's a short joke. Jesus Christ.
Oh, good.
What the fuck?
And then my chair breaks.
Oh my god. Just over here breaking hearts. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it's a personal defense weapon. I'm using this
At home.
in the defense. This is not what I'm using at home. Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? No, not a fucking chance. Like, I'm already
Now,
I first of all,
well, it's not for at
no.
home. It's for a trek on the road that you're going to grab in a moment of oh shitness.
Yeah.
And then you're going
Okay,
to
so
use it.
I hated this, but you made actually a pretty good point. I think we were talking. I don't remember. I think maybe we were talking to Luke, but we were talking about I don't remember what the hell we were talking
50
about.
50 state legal.
Yeah, it was one of the 50 state legal things, and I think it was one. Oh, you know what? It was one of the fireside chats where we were talking about a Browning ended up being like the ideal. It was one of the one. I don't know if it's
Browning
actually out anymore.
The Browning A5. The Browning
A5. So, but the consensus at the end of that was, we all kind of thought, hey, you know, shotguns are incredibly versatile.
They are.
I mean, you can go to California and New York with a shotgun and not be a felon. So a shotgun a lot like that. So maybe I don't know if mine is legal. Semi-automatic, doesn't matter. Either way.
I thought yours was put on the ban list recently.
A300?
Well, when the seven
okay, A300 those are produced. Those are actually made here.
No,
the ones are made internationally.
Is that the one that has the 7-round tube? Because I know ATF.
Yeah, so that one. So the 1301. Yeah, the 1301's the one that the ATF got mad at, because that one's actually made in Italy and then imported here. The A300 was the domestic solution for that. It has it's a different gas, or it's not. It's a different recoil system altogether too. So it's the budget version, which is all I wanted. I'm not a big shotgunner.
Yeah,
So
so you're talking about versatility and stuff. I mean, the shotgun is great. Get me wrong. I mean, the thing's fucking. I mean,
okay,
but you see
the,
how
what
big it is.
so okay, but that's what I was about to say is
So
we have
get
Remington's coming
yours.
back on the scene. We have Mossberg coming back on the scene with with the other, or not the other weapons, but the firearms where they're the bird's head grip, super compact 12 gauge
Right.
firearms. Well, you can put braces on those, and then that becomes a weapon that you don't have to be concerned about little dangly bits off the fucking bottom, which means throwing it
Right.
into a bag is even easier. Also, if you
But
can't find
capacity.
5.56 at Cabela's, you can sure as shit find 12 gauge at fucking Walmart.
Yeah, but sometimes finding double aught or slugs, or
Well, I
especially
mean,
during.
ammo's ammo. I mean, if we're
Yeah.
talking about, you can make hillbilly slugs. I mean, I'm saying, like, if you're down bad and you're looking for ammo at fucking Walmart, like, you're already at a different level of fucked, right? So the now, granted, I say that, but I actually I was in a recent situation. My wife and I, we evacuated for one of the hurricanes, and I actually found myself in a very similar situation where I had to go
You're
out and find fucking ammo for the guns that I
pil-
had.
pilfering ammo from the Walmart.
Well, I was lucky they had an academy where we went, so it worked out nicely. But
Uh,
I mean, and granted, I wasn't buying ammo because I needed to defend myself. I already brought ammo, and all the guns that I brought were loaded because that wouldn't make any other sense. But I wanted to shoot them as well, so I had to go find ammo.
you
But
wanted to shoot at the Hurricane
my
Florida
point
Man style.
stands. Yes, just in case. But so I still
Video
think there
coming
is
soon.
I still think there's a good argument to be made for one of those semi-automatic or even pump 12 gauge. I get a
I
little
feel
nervous
like
when the pump guns start getting this small because my hand go out in front.
I
But
feel like if you're gonna have a
that's a
really
skill
small
issue.
shotgun, for me, it has to be semi-automatic. And just
Okay.
less variables.
What's the thought?
The push pull mechanics, I feel like would get a little messed up with a really compact pump.
Okay, so more you're saying it would be a little bit more cramped for that technique.
Right.
I could see
Right.
that.
And you don't really want to come off. I mean, God forbid you're in this gunfight for your life.
So
That's
the
what it's
one
going to be.
thing
You don't want to come off the gun to try and cycle it because the grip is not allowing you to do a proper push pull.
I would say the only thing I would add to that is
Mhm.
that I'm not sure about a lot of other shotguns, but the receiver length doesn't change for pump guns,
Mhm.
which means the distance between your two hands doesn't change. It's the barrel that changes and the mag
Yeah.
tube that changes. So the only one like that's super common that does that is like an 870 and in like in a Winchester, but those are like the hunting models.
Mm.
So
I,
you don't really have to worry about that.
the other idea too is like, you I'm sure you've been in an adrenaline dump situation. I
Mm.
certainly have, especially with my job. There's been a couple of adrenaline dump situations, and a lot of stuff just, if you've done it a lot, it's automatic.
Right.
But some stuff you just like forget. You forget shit. So you might grab it out of the, if you're not using it and trading with it, you might
Mm.
grab it out of the bag, get the first, bang, and you might mentally
Mm.
freeze. So that's
Well,
why
I
I'm
mean,
one
especially
semi-auto.
if it's just a grab and go gun and you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely a consideration. I
That's why I
mean, you would
grab it,
definitely need to be
grab
training.
it, rack it, and just bang, 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 bang.
And that's actually an excellent point is if you're using if you have pigeonholed yourself into a gun that it works in your situation, which I'm not saying you have to use this and
Right.
this and you can't do anything else. But
Right.
you need to be realistic. And we've had a number of guests now where the common theme, it's almost a theme for the podcast, is use case. How many times have
Right.
we talked about that? I mean, we
A
talk
lot.
about all the time. I mean, because it's really easy to get really into your own head and decide this is what's going to happen and I'm going to do this and then I'll be ready with this, whatever the fuck. It's just relax. What do you do for your day to day? What do you actually need? And then
Right.
try it, practice, and then figure out. And that's how you learn that, oh, well, the charging handle on an AK is kind of annoying when I put it in a bag.
Right.
That's something that
Or
annoys me.
this M-LOK hand grip gets a little spicy hot after 30 or 40 rounds.
So these are things that you learn when you train and practice with something, right? So if you pigeonhole yourself in with like this any other weapon, like 12 or 10-inch shotgun, pump action shotgun that you haven't practiced to use, and then you use that as your bag gun, I it's like expecting your cold performance for a concealed carry drill to be immaculate after a year of not shooting. That's not realistic. I mean, you're not. It's like that's why I'm a big proponent of getting dry reps on a gun before you stuff it in your pants. It's like getting the most get as like get the most recent trigger press as you possibly can on your gun that you carry with you every day. I think that's just somebody else said that. That's not my idea, but I don't remember who. I do apologize. But I mean, so if I can do that, that's something I want to do. So I say all that to say AR. I touch ARs every single day. And I can load them, I can take them down to their finite components with my eyes closed.
It's also one of the barring like a full length pump shotgun, it's one of the few weapon systems I can think of off the top of my head that is very intuitive and easy to operate manual arms. So, for example, if I'm have somebody and I have to have an oh shit moment, I have my carry handgun on me. I'm like, hey, here, bag gun, I charge it, hand it to them. There's the safety, there's the fire, point, bang, bang, bang. They're going to be able to go, okay, point,
yeah,
bang,
it's
bang,
intuitive.
Bang. Right. If you toss them a fucking customized, like compact fucking pump action shotgun, you'd be lucky if they get maybe one shot off. Or even an auto
That's
shot.
a great point.
You'd be lucky if they're able to cycle it.
I think that's a very good point. I mean, even semi-autos, like especially if like the European style, like my A300, I handed to my wife, and I can hand her an AR, I can hand her my AK, I can hand her. Those guns are made for conscripts. You can tell they're made for the lowest common denominator, which is fine. That's good. That's good. Design guns that way.
And not in the scenarios that we're creating these oh shit hit the fan.
Well, I mean, we're exploring, maybe not creating. We're exploring concepts.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily be your primary idea to hand a firearm to someone, but there might be a use case.
There could be. I think it's less important than people make it out to be.
Right.
But I mean, it's always it's always a factor, especially
consideration.
Yes, it is always a consideration, especially since I'm talking about going on road trips with significant others and stuff like that.
Or here's another one. Like me and you are going on a road trip to hike somewhere, and I have a carry, you have a carry, and then you have your truck gun.
Well, and then say you need it, or I'm giving it to you for whatever purpose, and you're not as proficient. I mean, we both now this is more synergetic. Like obviously we're planning based on each other because we're part of each other's lives in some capacity. So that's something we do. Yes. We have a podcast together, so
we do.
Yes, we do. We're doing it right now.
Oh,
it's recording. People watch us sometimes.
Hello, fourth wall.
Yes, fourth wall break. So, So, so if you have no experience, like I know you know how to use an AR. I know you know how to use my guns, and I know how to use your guns. So it's easy, right? So a shotgun, once you start getting to more and more, I wouldn't say specialty, but pump action shotguns, keeping them fed and actually fighting with them. I don't mean shooting and defending yourself. I mean fighting with a pump action shotgun.
Outside of hunting, where you're doing maybe 3 to 4 shots in like a couple hours. Yeah. Like having to cram shells
defensively.
That's a lot of was it higher executive? Wasn't executive function?
Administrative gun handling. I mean, it's a lot.
Yes, a lot of administrative gun handling to feed shell speed. An AR, I can just here's mag.
Well, and there's a lot of dexterity too.
Here's new mag. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, bang, bang, bang.
It's big box goes into big box.
Yeah. You push the little button, click. Bang,
yeah,
bang,
exactly.
Bang, bang.
And then with you got mag tubes. You got to worry about if the fucking loading gate's gonna bite you. You got to worry about if you need to spit something onto a lifter. You got to is it charged? Do I need to worry? Like I ghost load my shit. So, like it's not as easy as here rifle,
Right.
safety on.
So-
Here, magazine. When you want, put together, pull, safety off.
Yep. So we say all that for Bryce's carbine truck gun. Show us again so we don't forget.
Well, this isn't, like I said, this isn't what it's going to look like at the end, but it's going to have a different handguard that I'm very excited. I don't want to spoil it quite yet, but it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's inexpensive. And this is, I'm feeling based on this company, I'm thinking they're going to be back. Like the parts are going to show up quite frequently. I'm very impressed with them. So
Nice.
this shorter, like I'm going to chop the brace down a little bit so I get more of a compact thing going on.
Mhm.
And then it'll have a fixed front sight. I can tell you that much. It'll have a fixed front sight. And
Well, I would-
eventually,
I would hope so when you're doing the carry handle on it. What was that? What was that?
I may not. I keep looking at this with a red dot and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything else to put.
We were so close. Ladies and gentlemen and people that watch
Okay,
this.
okay.
maybe,
No, hold on. Real quick. It is cheaper for me not to purchase a carry handle upper than just to use
So
this.
you're cheaping out on the name of the podcast.
We have its namesake. It's over there.
Oh my god,
I mean, realistically, I should probably replace that upper too.
Jesus!
Uppers.
We were
That
so
gun
close.
needs to be rebuilt. I know.
So
I know.
close.
Maybe we'll shop after we're done recording. We'll go and Bryce will shop for some parts for that gun. That gun. That's safe direction. By
Was
the way.
it that
I'm
gun?
not just just stupidly pointing guns over.
Oh, maybe you should make a pre thing that says, "Hey, all these guns are unloaded, and I'm not just wheeled." only
I
loaded
no,
gun.
I can't make that because some of these are loaded.
God, you don't.
I have loaded gun. I'm not gonna do that. I'm
Legal
sorry.
is exploding on fire right now.
Is this safe? Is it gonna? Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh no, I don't know. Is this safe?
I don't know.
Huh?
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
On Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
Aren't they
heard this on
listening to
Spotify.
this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts. So, all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who
then
are we and what the hell are we doing here?
yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.